So today, like I said, we're speaking with Jilgamesh, and Jilgamesh is an artist. She also streams on Twitch, and we'll get to know her a little bit more. And there will be links to her channel here in chat and in the show notes if you're listening in the podcast recording. If you want to check out any of her stuff, and I kind of want to talk to her about her process when it comes to art. Very curious about that, and as someone who knows very little about the world of actually, drawing stuff, very interested in hearing a little bit about that. We're gonna talk about Twitch. What are her motivations to get into it in the first place? Because let's be honest, it's a bit of a wild ride. And, what she wants out of it, what her strategies are, how things have been going and all that. And then from there, we'll talk about probably a lot of other tangents like music. We both share a passion for music and, JoJo and other things as well. So it's bound to be a very interesting conversation. You're very good at drawing your facial hair, though. I don't know how to take that correct. I guess that's a compliment to my beard, which I very much appreciate. But I do have Jill here on Discord ready. So we're going to go to a very brief intermission here, and I'll get her on the line, and we'll get this thing started. So don't go anywhere. All right, everybody, here we go. I have my guest, Jill, with me. Jill, welcome to the Gamer Life podcast. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Yeah, no, thank you for getting up early. Is it 9 a.m. for you, kind of?
Yep.
Yeah, pretty bright and early on the Saturday, so thanks for joining us. And yes, everybody in chat, if you want to check out Jill, there's her link. So, Jill, you are an artist. What comes with that territory? Is that like your main description? How do you describe yourself? Give me like a quick bio for the few people here who don't know you yet.
I always say that I'm a Jill of all trades. I kind of like to do a lot of things, but art being my primary focus. So, yeah, I do art in a lot of different fields. I'm trained as a 3D modeler and 2D animator for video games, but I do a lot of illustration work. That seems to be more of my passion. I just really like character design and illustrating, but I also do graphic design and logos for clients as well.
So for you, how much of it is that you like? Is it the process of, coming up with a concept, with an idea that you want to like bring to life in some way? Or is it really like the physical, mechanical experience of drawing something and the satisfaction of, seeing that come to fruition?
Bit of both. I like to succeed in everything. I'm a bit of an overachiever. So when I know I get frustrated when I work on a piece and a client's not satisfied with it. So I'm like, all right, what do I do to fix it? My brain's like going in a million directions. But I really like I like the process of it and the final product. I'm kind of a results type of person. So when you have the finished piece there and it all comes together and the client's satisfied, that's really good. It's like, yeah, I did a thing.
Do you ever have the case where, the client is satisfied, but you are not happy with the result for whatever reason? Not that it's not good, but like, it doesn't match your vision in some way?
Yeah. Working with clients, there's a balance. You need to obviously satisfy the client because they're the one paying for the piece. So it should be what they want. But as the artist, you kind of have to bridge that gap and try to push them in a good direction. If they're suggesting things that would be totally like incongruous, you need to try to make it all meld together in the end. And sometimes you have to be a little forceful with it, and other times you have to be a little like, okay, well, you know what, you're the one paying for it, it's fine.
Yeah.
So what I like to do is, say a client asks for a design and the idea is just completely out there and just envisioning it, it's like it's not going to work. So what I like to do is give the client exactly what they ask for, give them what I think would be the best, and then give like a mix of both of our ideas.
But that means
And
you
that
did
seems to
3
work.
pieces.
Well, the process is you usually don't work on a full piece.
Oh,
Like
okay.
at the beginning, you kind of give them mock-ups, is what they call them, or just like basic sketches just to get the idea out there,
Yeah.
or give them a color palette, depending on what it is. For example, I just had a client ask for a logo for their business that they're just starting up, and they wanted color in the logo. But I told them, how about we come up with the logo first? We'll just do it black and white, just
Yes.
so we can get the shapes there and get everything you want, and then we can play with color. They ended up wanting a black and white one, anyways. So it's a good thing I
Yes.
didn't waste time dealing with like the whole spectrum of colors.
Right. Yeah, I think that's really important with logos. You want like the essence of it in its simplest form, right? Because a lot of times you see these really complex logos on, especially like for YouTube and stuff. You see these like massively overcrafted logos, whereas really the good ones are the simple ones, the
Yeah,
ones that
sometimes
stick with
simple
us,
is
right?
better.
Right. So how do you view that I'm really interested actually in the idea of logos. So when someone comes to you, by the way, was this like someone in the creative space, like a streamer, or was it more like someone from a company?
It's someone I know in real life.
Okay.
And they're not artistically inclined.
So someone comes to you and they're like, "Hey, make me a logo," right? What is your process? Obviously, you ask them what they want and stuff,
Yes.
but how do you find that, like, simplest essence? Do you start with shapes? Like, what kind of process do you go through?
Well, I like to play 20 questions with my clients. I ask as many questions as I can, get as much information as I can, try to gauge what their interests are, what they like, what they don't like. Just even basic questions that might seem arbitrary, like, okay, what colors do you like? What colors don't you like? And when it comes to logos, like what kinds of typefaces do you like? Do you like cursive? Do you like bold, serif, sans serif? Just a lot of things. And just those little questions that might seem really arbitrary definitely come in handy.
Okay. So would you start like with a letter? Let's say, like, if the name starts with J or something, like, would you start with the
Mhm.
letter, or would you like try to put it into some kind of shape?
I Well, again, I would like to ask the client
What
if
they
they
want.
want
Yeah.
the name of whatever their business is like incorporated into the actual design, or if they just want like a picture, because some people just want a picture and they don't care about the text,
Right.
and some people want the text incorporated with the picture, so that becomes the whole logo. So that is another question that I would ask them. But again, it kind of comes down to um, just their preferences.
Yeah.
And if I can, think of something creative, not to dox the company that I just did the logo for, but they had a W and an R in their
Okay.
logo, and they're a catering company.
All right.
So it was, obviously something food related. They didn't want something too generic. They wanted something, personalized. So I ended up coming up with like making the W into a fork,
Okay.
the R into a knife somehow, and they ended up really liking that design. Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
it kind of it can work depending. Like sometimes it's a stretch, but other times you can
Hmm.
kind of incorporate some interesting things like that into a logo.
Yeah, that's really interesting. One of the things that, when we did the first piece, I forget exactly what it was, but we worked on, I think it was the Be Right
Use your
Back
starting
screen or the
screen.
starting
Yeah.
screen. The
Oh
starting
no no
screen
no!
was
It
second.
was yeah, it was Be Right Back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I saw yours, right? And I was like, hey, right, let's try something in that style, I think. And what really called attention to the way you work is you did a lot of prep. So you kind of first of all, you looked at some streams and stuff to get a feel for what I was going for, but then you also like, tried to get like a cohesive view. So how much prep work is there when let's talk about like a streamer approaching you to do
Mhm.
something for them. How much prep work is there associated, or can you just jump in with some basic ideas?
It depends. Sometimes you can kind of gauge a person's interests just on
Right.
first glance at their channel.
It's like they like
Um,
unicorns. Okay. We're
yeah,
right.
it's like
Yeah.
obviously okay. I'm gonna go with something like that. Um, in terms of your channel, like I knew you like JoJo, so I could go like all out
Yeah.
with the designs. And I noticed your background was like very blue and purple, so I'm like, all right, I want to incorporate those colors in, so it all like kind of just goes together.
Yeah, it worked out very well. I think that's the thing, because I've worked with other artists in the past, and I had to do a lot of revisions with them to kind of get some of my preferences and personality to be in the
Mm-hmm.
work, because they would come up with something brown, and I'm like, that's not really my my color scheme,
Mm-hmm.
right? I even told
Again,
them,
that's why I like to ask, what
right,
colors do you
and I
like?
even told them,
That's
right,
it
my
helps so much.
yeah, but it kind of seems like, they didn't like take that on board as much as I
Yeah.
would have liked. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that was one of the differentiators with you, and why I kind of, I did more stuff than after, right? So
Mm-hmm.
is that kind of, because we also talked, behind the scenes about Fiverr being this big marketplace for artists, and
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned it's very difficult to compete in that space because you have people like gouging the prices, right? So they go in with
Yeah.
really low prices for stuff, and I don't want to call it low effort work, but they kind of come up with some
Yeah. Well, what's
simple basic
frustrating is
designs or
when you see the high effort work and they're only charging $5 for it. It's like, come
oh,
on,
there's that
man.
as
Like,
well. Okay.
yeah, like there are some really good artists on Fiverr, and it's a shame that they're only asking like $5, $10 for a piece. Like, come on, respect yourself, respect
Yeah.
other artists. It's kind of a collective effort here because
Right.
when you have someone doing a piece that should be like maybe $100, $200 and they're charging five for it, it
Yeah.
makes it really difficult for an artist who is charging a fair price for it,
Yeah.
who just wants to make a living. Because when it
Exactly.
comes down to it, say it takes them 4 hours to make that piece for $100, like they're getting 25 an hour, and after taxes, I think that
Yeah.
makes a fair livable wage.
Yeah. Agreed.
But someone making $5, it's like you're doing it for pennies at
I
that point.
always wonder. It's interesting to get your perspective as someone who
Mm-hmm.
does that, because for me, I was just looking at it from a consumer standpoint, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, how do people actually pull that off? Because they're making, like, in some cases pretty good work, but it's like $10 for an emote, or like $15 for
Yeah.
an emote, and I'm like, is it that they're able to kind of reuse some of the work, or is it really they're forced to compete at that low price, do you think?
It's a mix. Uh, like some people, they feel like, okay, well, an emote's only going to take me like 5 minutes to do in some instances, so they don't have an issue charging like $10 for it.
Hmm.
The way I factor in my prices is if I'm doing an emote for someone and it takes me, however amount of time to do it, I also take into consideration the money that that person's going to be making back on that emote.
Yeah.
Because, you get a subscriber, they use that emote, you get money. And basically it's going to pay for itself in no time. So say you
Yeah.
pay $30 for an emote,
And in most
you're
cases, sorry to cut you off, but you're
gone.
also selling the right to use that
Right.
in a shirt.
Yeah, and they could use it for anything.
Right, exactly.
So you're just taking into consideration the utility of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like art is an investment for a channel. That's the thing. It's an investment and it's a
100%.
luxury.
And
Yeah,
the first
the way
advice that I know, sorry, I know that with this, there's a slight delay, so we kind of cut each other off sometimes. I apologize. But the first piece of advice that I think you give, and I've heard you give this, is like, hey, make sure you're invested into the project of being a streamer before you start, right? Like getting all sorts of art and stuff for your channel. I think that makes a lot of sense. A lot of people jump into it straight away.
Yeah, and like you need to find a balance, because when it comes down to it, artists are a dime a dozen. Like, I know I'm not, the best. I'm far from it. There's people better than me. I understand my place in the art realm. And, I'm comfortable with the prices that I charge. And I'm not going to, try to sink them down just to compete.
Right.
Like it's a matter of like self-respect too, and respecting the community, because it is disrespectful to other artists who do want to, make a living off of their craft. And the way I explain it to people is, say a pipe bursts in your house, which that just happened to me. That's a long story. I won't go down that tangent, but say a pipe bursts in your house and you need a plumber to come over and fix it. You wouldn't expect them to do it for free. You're calling them because of their expertise in the field.
Yeah.
So you respect that and you pay the price to get your pipes fixed. Likewise with an artist, if you don't have any artistic ability and you go to an artist, it's pretty disrespectful when you say, well, do you do this for free?
Right. Exactly.
Like, what do you think? This is what I do for a living.
Yeah,
you're asking me to do my work for free.
And people do this, but because I have other artist friends and they tell me, they get DMs like, hey, could you like do this for free? Like maybe do a simpler version for free or something. It's like, what do you mean? This is my work, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's pretty crazy. So yeah, I wanted to get your perspective there. And I do think one of the big differentiators is professionalism. So I was, mentioning that's one of the reasons I wanted to kind of keep working with you, not to toot your horn too much here. Got to keep you on your toes, but it was a good experience of like you taking seriously the work and like, trying to understand what I wanted as well, which I think it's been quite difficult for me. I've worked with 3 or 4 other artists, and it kind of felt like they were sort of pushing their vision on instead of trying to actually achieve what I wanted for the channel. So I think that's a big noticeable, let's say, advantage of working with someone who is professional. The other thing is to like with different timings and delivery and response times, artists can be quite finicky, like the ones I've worked with in the past, where like you leave them a message and maybe they respond after 2 days, like, yeah, I'm working on it. And, the piece that was meant for, 15 days after you paid, it was like maybe delivered after a month or something. So that kind of stuff is really noticeable when you find someone who's like, hey, here's an actual ETA, and I also really enjoyed you shared a lot of like the early, as you mentioned, like the sketches and the direction, because I think, and this also in my profession as software engineer, very important for you to know early on in the development process if you're down the right track, right?
Yes.
Because if I come to you with a full suite of software and you're like, this basic foundational aspect is wrong, I gotta redo the whole thing, right? So in the same way for you, if you come with a finished piece and I say, I don't like the fundamental direction of it, you got to redo the whole thing. Right?
Yeah, I have made that mistake early on in my career, where I would just go full out, make a completed piece and be like, do you like it? And they'd be like, no, this isn't what I wanted at all. So I'd have to go from square one again, and that's just wasting time for me. So I figure it's better to show clients like updates and just incrementally show them like, hey, do you like the direction of this? But tell them it's a rough sketch, because I've had people be like, why doesn't it have color? Can you make the lines cleaner? Like, it's a sketch.
Right. Yeah.
It'll be cleaner later.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes it's like, all right, you don't want to get condescending with people, but you're just like, okay.
Well, what always blows my mind.
I'm not a people person. I'm very blunt. I'm very
to the point.
Yeah, to the point. That's a good way to describe it. And I don't like to waste time. I like to work as efficiently as possible.
Exactly.
And getting back to what you were saying about turnaround, that's one thing I like to ask clients up front is, what is your deadline? Do you have a deadline? Sometimes they're like, oh, whenever. Other times they're like, 2 weeks. Is that good? And I try to do it as quickly as I can. And because my typical business model is I ask for either half or full payment up front.
Yeah.
Like as a down payment or whatever. It kind of depends on the price too. I like to have a quick turnaround, so the client's not just like, oh my gosh, I just spent this much money and I'm not seeing anything. So that's why I like to keep communication open and let them know, hey, I'm actually working on it, or I haven't started it yet, but I will soon, and just keep them up to date with the process.
Yeah.
And have them be involved in the process, because it's their piece, so they obviously should have a say in it.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of difference, I felt. But you also, and I don't know if you can talk about this, so stop me if you can't, but you mentioned in one of your streams you were working with some of the I think it was a Skyrim mod team that was working on like a big mod. So I don't know how much you can talk about it, but you were doing some like, I think, character design, or maybe like some like trinkets and stuff you were designing.
Yeah, it was they in the game world they call it clutter. So basically I just designed some like
ceramics and stuff you would find in the world,
forks and knives, and it's like little things that really add flavor to the world, like things that you wouldn't things that you kind of take for granted but would notice if you're walking around in a game and be like, wow, this room's empty. So just the little things that make it more homey and alive.
Can we disclose what the name of that mod is, for if people want to like follow that, or not yet?
Yeah. The part of the mod that I'm working on is it's not released yet, but the mod itself is called Beyond Skyrim.
Beyond Skyrim. Okay.
And it takes all of the provinces of Tamriel and puts them into the Skyrim engine, so you can travel between all the provinces, not just Skyrim. The team that I'm working on is the Morrowind team.
Oh.
So that's fun. We're taking a lot of inspiration from
very cool.
That's
a really ambitious mod.
Mm-hmm. It's very ambitious, but there's like thousands of people working on it. I mean, even just in the Morrowind section, there's like hundreds of people in that Discord, and it's really cool to just see all these very talented people work on things. And I'm
what a cool idea!
A 2D concept artist, but it was cool seeing the 3D modelers make these pieces come to life.
So you make the 2D initial design, and then
I just draw the sketches of them, different angles, color palettes, and all that. And someone will take it and put it in I think they use Blender. They'll put it in Blender and just make it 3D, and then another person will implement it into the engine and get all of that working.
They're gonna do like sometimes in Skyrim when you're in the loading screen you have like some piece of pottery or something on screen.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that would be really cool to see. Like
it's kind of funny that I feel like I shouldn't get excited to see pots and stuff. I'm just
this
I made that pot.
Was made by me.
I did that. There's some screenshots of there's like a little mini mod that they have out that's like a merchant, and it shows her like holding one of the pots. I'm like, I did that pot.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool.
Yeah,
that's another cool thing with game design, is actually seeing your vision come to life.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then people, see people interact with that has to be a really interesting thing.
Getting their reactions is always fun.
So for you, out of all the work you do in the art space, what would you say is, I don't know if you can take like a top one, but is there like one single type of work that kind of fulfills you the most, whether it's like designing logos or doing some kind of animation? You know, is there anything specific?
I really have been enjoying doing Twitch work.
Okay.
Like doing Be Right Back screens and emotes and panels. Just I've really been enjoying that. I didn't think I would, but it's just kind of cool because there's a lot of variety with it because everyone's channel has a different vibe to it.
Yeah.
So I get to work in a bunch of different styles. Yeah, that's a question that I'm often asked is what kind of styles do you work in? And I just tell them I can pretty much adapt to anything. I could do something a little more realistic. I could do something like super chibi. I could do something like, I could just do a bunch of different things. And I think that's important as an artist, just having that versatility so you can better adapt to people's preferences.
While we're at it, do you have your commissions open right now? If people want to
I do.
slip into your DMs and try to get something commissioned.
Yeah, well, I'm in Johnny's Discord, so if you guys are interested, just DM me. I'm Jilgamesh, I don't think with the underscore. I'm Jilgamesh with the underscore on Twitch.
On Twitch, yeah, so people can go there.
Someone took
well.
Jilgamesh.
Yeah, bastards.
I don't know who.
God damn it.
We'll hunt them down.
Yeah.
It's probably some throwaway account.
Exactly. That's the most annoying part.
Because when you search it, you can't find it. Like, you can find a person if they're a streamer, but if they're not a streamer, it's like, all right.
Yeah. So I guess that's, I've always wondered, where does the name come from, Jilgamesh? I know Jill is your name, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the
It's actually a nickname from my brother.
Oh, okay.
My usual screen name is Preparation H.
Right. Yeah, I remember
I figured
that. The first time I saw you, I was like, okay, all right.
But I figured if I wanted to start streaming, I kind of didn't want to build my brand around Preparation H.
What would even be?
It's just kind of a funny screen name.
The branding
but
for
I'm
that.
like, so I was like kind of thinking, all right, what do I do for a name? And I just came up with a list of things, and I remember like this was a nickname that my brother had given me, and that seemed to be the popular consensus with my friends. They're like, "Ooh, that's a good one. Pick that one."
Yeah, it's pretty metal. It's pretty good.
It's pretty metal, yeah. Pretty metal. I like metal.
Yeah, exactly. So, let's dive into that a little bit, because you're also a metal fan, and I actually came to you for some recommendations. You gave me some really good ones. So. I've been down a few of those rabbit holes. For you, I guess, is there like a few favorite bands that you have that you could name like right now that would be like your go-to?
I think my favorite band is Tristania.
Okay. Yeah, I have heard them in the past.
Yeah. Nice, chill, kind of gothic, symphonic, melodic metal. The thing with metal is like there's so many different subcategories. Like a lot of them kind of overlap with each other.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I'd say Tristania is my favorite band. Second would probably be like Epica or Camelot. I really like those
Camelot
bands.
is a classic, isn't it?
Camelot's so good.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember the name of the band. So Lizzie Hale is the singer. Hailstorm. Have you ever listened to them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I saw them live, and they're amazing. They're a great live band, and they have
I've
some
never
really
seen them
good
live,
music as well. A bit more, I guess, on the pop side. If you want to think of the heavy metal spectrum, they're a bit more on the not really heavy. They're more like I guess heavy rock, almost like popular heavy rock, I guess. But yeah, very, very good band. I don't know why it came to mind, but yeah, I guess like your style sort of reminds me of Lizzie Hale. This, very cool like style you have. But let's talk a little bit about Twitch, because you stream, I think 2 times a week. Is that your schedule?
Between 2 and 3. 2
2 and 3.
definitely, 3 kind of up in
Yeah.
the air.
So I always see you doing. There's one Skyrim day and one TF2 day, right?
Yes.
That's the main, and then some other stuff on top.
Yep.
Right. So and how long have you been doing this? You've been doing it for a while now.
I just started streaming last August, so I'm still
Well, that's
kind
a
of
lot of
a
months.
baby.
And you've been
Yeah, it's like what,
you've been
7,
pretty
8 months.
stable too, because I actually
Yeah.
keep my eye on people. Like, how stable are they? Because they say, yeah, I'm streaming, but it's one stream every 2 weeks. And
I'm a very regimented person.
Yeah,
so
I
once
got
I put
that
my mind
from
to it,
you.
it's like I need a schedule.
Yeah.
I need objectives.
Right, we're doing this. We're either doing it or
Yeah.
not. What?
So it's
Yeah.
like, all right, Thursdays and Sundays, we're doing it. I'm committed. And
What?
even yesterday, like I said, I usually stream Skyrim on Thursdays, but that's when my pipes started leaking, so I needed to get that fixed. And I'm just like, I can't stream today.
Disaster.
Like I know, disaster. So I'm like, all right, what do I do? Do I do my stream later? Do I just do it on Friday? I'm like, okay. So I'm not doing anything Friday. I'll just stream it on Friday, and I basically had the same turnout as I would on a Thursday. So that was nice, and I'm glad that my community was flexible with that.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of up in the air, because some people, they might only be available on Thursdays to watch at that time.
Yeah.
So I mean, at least I have VODs, so they can check those out. But
yeah.
Still, I just don't like changing my schedule unnecessarily.
I think that's
something
really
like that
important.
that just throws my day off. I hate it.
Yeah.
But you got to be flexible.
You gotta. Yeah, I think you kind of need that. It needs to bother you if you miss a stream for you to be able to truly just be very consistent. There has to be something beyond just the people who like watching you. It has to be, you have to be a bit of a stickler as well for, I want to be there, right? And it bothers you if you miss a stream.
Yeah, like I want to take streaming seriously, but also I understand that it could end at any moment.
Right.
Because, life and Twitch's fickle TOS.
Yeah.
You never know. You might say one wrong thing and you could be canceled. Yeah. You could get your whole channel taken down because of a slip up. So you really gotta gauge like what you say on stream and how you're presenting yourself.
How much modulation do you think you do on yourself on Twitch? How much space is there between Jilgamesh on Twitch versus the real Jill?
Like I said before, I'm a very blunt and forward person, so you have to be a little nicer on Twitch, I found out. Even just yesterday, there was an instance of someone who's like, hey, remember me? And my first inclination was to say, am I supposed to?
Nope.
Which I'm like, okay, don't say that.
Dial it down.
Just rethink how to present this information. But
diplomatic.
Yeah, my initial response wanted to be like, no. Like, what makes you think you're that special? I don't know.
They really put him in this place.
I don't know, because sometimes like you can kind of gauge with viewers. Sometimes like you get 100%. A lot of cool people on Twitch, but also being a woman on Twitch, you get a lot of.
I actually wanted to get your perspective on that because.
Oh my gosh!
We don't have to go fully into it because
I know
it's not a gnarly subject, but
it's a rabbit hole.
I am just like legitimately curious as someone who is just a dude on Twitch. Like for me, it's like the worst I get is like people comment on my hairstyle, and I'm like. I just kind of move on, right? There isn't anything like too hurtful or, let's say, creepy or annoying that I get. But for you, do you get a lot of like nonsense from people coming in being creepy and like weird?
A lot, yeah. Just ask any of my moderators. They are put to work.
Yeah.
Not necessarily for Skyrim streams, but TF2 streams, that just draws a crowd.
Oh, Do you think it's
You
like
get
younger
some.
people? Like just like younger people
I see Jeremy in chat saying that he goes on banned streaks,
ban
which
streaks?
is that is true. There were some instances where we had to ban like 5 or 6 people in a row. It was just nonstop
Damn.
harassment. Just the basic stuff that they call women's basic stuff that they even call trans people, which I'm not trans, but people say that on my stream a lot. Like I had someone come into my stream saying, "You'll never be a real woman."
Oh.
Like what?
Yeah.
And another person that was like, "Wow, you're gorgeous for a man."
Oh, wow.
Like what?
Yeah, it's so weird.
Just, like I find it kind of like funny. I'm not a sensitive person.
Right.
So
you got
I don't
thick skin.
like it's not gonna
I get that feeling.
Yeah, it's not gonna ruin my day. Like I'm used to being the only woman in a room. Because I went to college for game design. Right. So
a lot of dudes.
Often I was like the only woman in my class. And you just get used to it.
Mm-hmm.
You just gotta be one of the bros.
Yeah, but, it's one of those unfortunate things. Like it shouldn't be that way, but it's sadly
thankfully in college, I had a lot of people like respected me. They didn't I didn't get any weird treatment in college, so like that was cool. But on the internet it's a different place because people it's not a face-to-face conversation. So
100%. People feel like they
cowardly to insult people through the protection of their computer screen.
Or they think they're entitled to something. I see that as well in some of my female streamer friends. I hang out in their streams, and someone that's maybe like a regular sub, they kind of have this like weird dynamic where they're like expecting something.
It's like you owe me something because
it can be quite subtle, but you kind of get that vibe.
What I just say is like, if that's what you want to do with your money, fine. I didn't ask for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's weird.
You're not entitled to anything.
Exactly. Yeah, but it's weird too. You see this weird spectrum of someone either being very rude coming in, and I see this in many different streams that my friends do. But then you also get the other opposite, which is like someone coming in like gushing with compliments and like, oh, you're the you're
in my opinion that's worse. Like I'd rather have someone be rude to me. I'd rather have someone be rude to me than like
it's weird. Like what are you trying to do, right? Like are you like
what is your motivation? Like that's what I always ask. Like I'm always analyzing people and trying to figure out like, all right, what do you want? What's your motivation? Why are you doing this? What are you seeking to gain?
Yeah, exactly. Like that's not.
You gotta
this
be
is not the
suspect
platform
of people.
for that, right?
Yeah, it's like if you want to date someone, like go on Tinder. Don't go searching for people on Twitch because I ain't interested.
Yeah, that's why
I'm just here to play video games. Like
right, and that's
make
why
art.
Everybody saying like, oh, women stealing the views or women having it easy because they attract more viewership. I'm like, they attract a lot of like bad attention. I don't want those viewers.
It's not worth it. Like I'd rather have 5 like honest, good viewers than have like 50 creeps.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's not the audience I want. So that's why I tell my mods, like, be as strict as you want. I trust your judgment. If you think someone's being like really weird, asking strange questions, saying inappropriate things, just ban them.
I really
that's not the kind of audience. That's not the kind of community I want for my channel.
I think it's really important in being selective, being picky with your viewers as much as you can. You obviously
there's
can't
a lot of
control
trash on the internet.
Who jumps in, but you can control who sticks around, right? If someone comes in and they're a jerk, not just like removing them, but also like making a point to show people that doesn't stand. Right, there isn't a place for that in your space, and I think once you start doing that regularly, the chat almost like self-moderates to some extent. You still need mods, especially like you said, for creeps and stuff. But people in your chat that are regulars, when they see a jerk in there, they call them out too, right? They're gonna be like, well, "What are you doing, man? Get out of here!" Right?
Yeah.
Corrado says, I usually watch streams for the entertainment first, but that's a rare thing nowadays, apparently.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Some people. Yeah. I honestly don't know what some people want from a stream. Sometimes it gets very strange.
I mean, it's just amazing how even some people will follow and unfollow.
Yeah.
Just so they can get that shout out.
Exactly. Yeah. It's
like I've had some people follow my channel and their names are like totally inappropriate, and it's like I won't say it on stream. I'll just be like,
they want to
get
you to say it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
it's some
no, I'm
low level stuff. Yeah. Anyways, it's interesting. I guess that's a good segue to my big question, which is, what the hell led you to start streaming on Twitch? Because it's a murky and it's kind of a weird world to get into, and you expose yourself to a lot of this weirdness and creepiness.
Yeah.
So what for you kind of caused you to say, hey, I want to try this out?
It was kind of a lull in my work. I went through a couple months of just having very little work, and I'm like, okay, I need something to kind of sustain me. Like I figured I play a lot of games. I might as well, stream 2 or 3 days of the week. Maybe make a little money off of it. And just, have fun, see where it goes. I honestly wasn't even expecting my channel to get as far as it did. I thought I'd be a person that was like perpetually at like 20 followers. But it seems to have some
tough.
steady growth, and I really appreciate that. So,
yeah, and the people showing up, every stream. I see every time I stop in, I see a lot of regulars there that I recognize.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
Well, and it's nice seeing like crossovers with different channels too.
Yeah.
Because, for instance, the Team Fortress community, the streamers are really cool. Viewers, kind of hit or miss. But the streamers are just really nice people, and they all support each other. Like you'll find them in each other's streams. So that's really cool. So just checking out the different streaming communities is really nice. Skyrim community is also very supportive. I met a lot of cool people in the Skyrim community.
Yeah. Yeah, Twitch has these little, almost like ecosystems for different games. Mm-hmm. Games that have like a hardcore following. So Skyrim is a great one. TF2 also, it's quite niche.
Like it's such an old game. It's like a 12, 13-year-old game, and but it's got a very loyal fan
following.
Base.
Exactly.
Yes. So, and those are just like the good games to kind of jump into as
100%
a new streamer. Because honestly, I didn't think TF2 would be as successful as it was, streaming wise. Because when I first started, I'm like, man, I don't know what to stream. Like, I really want to play TF2, but no one's gonna watch that. Why would anyone watch that? And it turns out that the TF2 streams are my most successful. So I'm like, who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Yeah. I found that my most successful periods have always been when I find like a new niche to jump into, and I go from from zero to hero in a game. So for example, we did this with Monster Hunter World, and then you're diving into that world for whatever it is, like a couple months or 3 months, and you're learning the game, and you take people along with you, right? And a lot of times you take people from that niche and you carry them over to whatever it is you're doing next as well, because they stick around. So I think that it's a really powerful thing, the idea of like going into a niche.
Yeah. Well, and it's inevitable that you're going to have people that will just follow for a particular game. Because I've noticed I have people that only show up for Skyrim, and I have people that only show up for Team Fortress. Right. But then I have my core audience that will show up for both of those streams. And then whenever I do like a random Wednesday night stream, I usually will do something like Apex or Rainbow Six Siege or Overwatch, something like that, and do that like with a party. So that's more of a chill kind of fun, tilted night.
Yeah. Yeah. Rose, what's up? She says, how are unicorns fake but giraffes real? Like, what is more believable, a horse with a horn or a leopard moose camel with a 40 feet neck? My logic says unicorns should exist. I think you really want unicorns to exist, and that's respectable. But I will back up your point about giraffes being unbelievable. because they can give birth basically like that and keep moving. Right?
Imagine
It's
dropping
incredible.
like 20 feet when you're born.
And you have to be ready. The mom is going. The mother is moving. Right? She's not like hanging around for a month nursing you. No, she's going. And you gotta like be ready. So giraffes are a superior type of being in some ways. But yeah, so on the Twitch thing, how do you feel your experience has been? You did mention, you feel it's in a good place now. So overall, are you happy with, the journey and all that?
Yeah. I'm not looking to get partnered. Because that just seems like a lot of extra pressure to perform. Plus, I've never even had anywhere close to what's the average of 75 viewers. But I'm happy with my solid like 10 people showing up.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that's fine. If my channel grows more, great. If not, like it's good where it is. But yeah, I've been really satisfied with my performance on Twitch. Twitch itself, I have some opinions toward.
I think
but,
we're all quite unhappy with a lot of their
I'm not
decisions.
gonna go down that tangent during the podcast.
Yeah, a lot of stuff has been super problematic for sure. But I feel there's something, I did stream on YouTube for a while before I did Twitch, and there's something about kind of the community vibe in Twitch that I didn't get in YouTube at all. It really felt like chat was just like a trash dumpster in YouTube. So
the thing with YouTube is like they don't promote live streams like at all. And when you talk about streaming, it's kind of synonymous with Twitch.
Yeah.
And when you say you're a streamer, people automatically assume you're a Twitch streamer, not a YouTube streamer or whatever other platform. So they'll go to find you on Twitch.
Yeah.
So I think that's also
it's growing a lot now
there.
on YouTube. And it's getting to the point where if you're starting now, I almost think you gotta try both and see what.
Yeah, it's tough because streaming is such an oversaturated field at this point. There's a lot of people streaming.
Mm-hmm.
Rosa, good for them for trying it out, but also, it's tough trying to make your way as a new streamer. It helps when you have a community. Like a foundation already there. And that's something that I was very thankful for because I had a lot of streamer friends. And for a while, I'm just like, I don't think I'll ever want to stream. Like, I'm such an introvert. I'm not a people person. So I'm like, no one's going to want to watch me. I have a terrible personality. Why would anyone want to see that?
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that because I think we all come across that initial barrier of why in the fuck would anyone actually want to watch me?
When there's other people out there to watch.
It's almost like a humility thing. I think that, I'm just not that interesting. And I think a lot of us kind of feel that way. But you got to realize that it's not about you being better than other people in some way. It's just you're different, right? You're like everybody's unique in some way. Mm-hmm. And maybe there's something about the way you are unique that appeals to someone. Maybe they like the way you speak. Maybe you got a weird accent and they like it, right? Maybe you have cringy
I don't think
jokes.
Anyone has ever complimented the way I speak, but
there's something, right? Because people come back for you. And we know that people come back for us and not for the game because, if they just wanted to see footage of that game, there are way like bigger streamers or, like people who are better, esports people or whatever it is. So we know that mostly as someone who's coming into as a new streamer, people that stick around are going to stick around because they like you in some way, like whether it's your personality, right? So you got to also give yourself some credit. I think a lot of people are like,
I'm quite self-disparaging.
I think, give yourself some credit because, you said 10 people. that's 10 fucking people that are there.
Yeah,
Because
it's 10 people that are taking time out of their day to watch my stream, and like I appreciate that.
yeah.
I wouldn't take time out of my day to watch my stream. So if someone else wants to do it, like, good for you. That's cool. Thanks.
Rozo, I hope you're well, man. Yeah, I mean, do you ever watch one of your streams like as an exercise in, like self-analysis?
Yeah. Yes. I'm a very analytical person, and I'm always like looking at my channel analytics, and I'm just like, how can I improve? There must be a mistake somewhere. Like there's always room for improvement, and I don't like settling for things. I always like to
next?
Push myself.
What's the next step?
Push myself, do better. Because it's like, okay, well, like I'm getting an average of 5 viewers. How do I get an average of 10?
Right.
Like, what do I need to do to improve my streams? Like, do I need to adjust my times? And I noticed that was actually very helpful, because I used to stream from like 1 to 5. And I noticed that a lot of people would show up in my stream like near the end. So I would almost feel obligated to stream later, because like I'd go the whole stream, have like 4 viewers, and then like
end,
maybe a half hour before I was gonna log off, it's like 10 people would show up, and it's like,
yeah,
do I stream longer so I could bring my average up, or because people are here now, they want to see stuff, so I feel like it would kind of be a jerk move to just log off if everyone just showed up. So I figured after that had happened consistently for a while that I would adjust my times an hour later, and that seems to have helped a lot, because I can get like a mix of audiences. Like it's evening for the European audience, so
exactly.
they're just after dinner, right before bed, they're just chilling, watching my stream. For the American audiences, it's early mid-afternoon, or I guess late afternoon, early evening. So it's a good time.
It is a good time. It's actually this more or less the same range of time I stream on, and I also get people from US, and so it's a good overlap.
Yeah.
Area. Yeah. Do you actually look at your viewer count during streams?
I do. I know a lot of people recommend that you don't do that. But for me, it kind of helps gauge some things. Like, it's not completely accurate, but sometimes it's like, okay, if I start talking about a certain topic or whatever, and then I notice like my views go from like 15 to 2, I'm like, oh, was it something I said?
If it's drastic like that, for sure. But I think you got to be careful, because it's really not very accurate. Because a lot of times I see, in one device it will show 15 viewers, and another one will show like 20, and it really fluctuates, and it doesn't update immediately. So if someone leaves, it doesn't register. So I would just caution you, don't like overread into it. Like if let's say you make a bad joke and you're like, oh, 2 people left because of that disaster.
Yeah, I'm not going to get that uptight about it, where it's like, oh no, 1 person left, my day is ruined.
Right.
But yeah, if you notice like all of your viewers just leave all of a sudden, it's like, okay, 100%. I messed up.
Or I think
Which thankfully that's never happened to me.
Yeah.
I like to make sure that it doesn't happen.
I think a really important thing to do, so even the people who say don't look at it, I think you got to look at it after, at the very least, and see what, how did it go,
well,
right?
Because
you can see the fluctuations and stuff.
Yeah.
So you get the graph of like, oh, there was a lull here. Maybe something happened. What was I like too quiet, right? Did something happen there? And you can kind of reflect back a bit.
So
I think that
in
helps.
that respect, I will like watch some of my VODs over again. I am in the process of starting up a YouTube channel where I'm going to, I guess 2 channels, where one, I'm just going to post like the raw VODs, and then another where I'm going to have some edited videos. So that's in the works right now. But that being said, I want to like start combing through my VODs again. I did that more like early on, just to like analyze like how I am on camera. Like, okay, do I need to do this, shift at this angle?
Yeah, that's
have my camera here, because before I would have my channel up on my other monitor,
Yeah.
and I'd have my chat like over in the right corner.
Right.
So anytime I'd read chat, I'd just be like doing like completely turning off screen.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna move my chat to the left corner, so it's more like I'm glancing at it and then glancing back at my computer.
Yeah.
So that definitely helped. Oh
Yeah.
yes, and my camera was
The
auto
green camera?
like, balanced me to green.
Oh. Was
That
it
wasn't
the Logitech thing where it resets every now and then?
I have no idea.
Yeah. So
I was just green. I knew that, and I'm like, what? I mean, I should like blend in with my walls here. Like, I'm not green.
yeah.
Maybe I was too angry and I was just like hulked.
It's a painful exercise to kind of, watch your own stream in some ways. But
yeah, personally, I find my voice very grating. So, yeah, it kind of sucks listening to myself.
I'm
for
gonna
4
push
hours.
back on that because every time I hear someone say something like "I hate my voice" or "I don't like,"
Well,
my
I think
voice,
everyone hates the sound of their own voice.
exactly. At
Except
first,
narcissists who just never stop talking.
No. Okay. Here's the thing: you're not used to the sound of your voice, like how it really sounds, right? You're used to to hearing it through like how it sounds in the room through your fleshy ears, right? They modify how you sound. When you hear how you actually sound through a mic, it's like, that's not me. Except it is, right? That's how people actually, hear you. So it's very important to become used to that. And everybody who's like a singer, a musician, they went through the process of either hating or not quite liking how they sound. And the process starts by like getting used to how you actually sound and then going from there, right? You work on it, you tweak. Maybe, you want to sound a slightly different way. You start to tweak, start to work on it, and gradually find your voice and learn to like your voice. So I think, and if there is anything I can impress on you, is this, I hope is this, that it's not that you hate your voice, is that you're not used to it yet enough. And that's just the first step in your journey towards liking your voice. And I really hope you can go down that road and learn to like your voice. Because I don't think it's bad. In fact, clearly people like your voice. So don't even take my word for it. Other people like it as well. So you don't have to answer right now. Take that on board, hopefully, and, think about that.
Jeremy says, still not used to my speaking voice, but Twitch sings help me to like my singing voice. I tolerate it.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, I've gone down this road with many people. It's very hard to convince people of, but that's just my stance on it. I find it a shame when people, hate on their own voice. Because
it's like a bit of a dysphoria there. Like, oh,
exactly.
I actually sound like that. Interesting.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Anyways, but going on from there. So how do you view Twitch in the future? Like if you were to say like my ideal outcome, do you view it as like a side gig? Or do you ever want to consider like going full time?
It's definitely a side gig for me, and I do intend to keep it that way, just because I have a ton of side gigs that comprise of like just all my work.
Yeah.
It's like all my little art jobs on the side. I have another like return client that I work for a couple days a week, so I need to keep my schedule open for that. And but yeah, I like to have my dedicated Skyrim days, my dedicated TF2 days, and then just if I feel like streaming on another day, I can. So I like to have flexibility, but I also like to have I like to keep things serious to an extent. Like I want to take streaming seriously. I want to take my artwork seriously. I want to take just all my other jobs seriously. So yeah, I want to keep doing Twitch as long as things permit. I may increase my schedule a little bit more as time goes on, depending on how my other work is going. But yeah, it's just kind of stuff to consider. And yeah, we'll see where the future takes us.
And to put you on the spot, because you're also a cat parent, can we talk a bit about why cats are the superior pet choice?
they're mostly quiet and they're self-sufficient. I don't like
Exactly.
noisy, needy things. So
Yeah,
obviously not a fan of children. Dogs can kind of be hit or miss.
yeah.
I just don't like incessant noises.
Yeah, I
Like
feel
that would
like
just drive
dogs,
me nuts if
you
they were
really
just
gotta stop what you're
barking
doing
nonstop. Yeah, like
and go
not a fan. I
right.
like having my own schedule, my own things going on, and if something interrupts that, I am not happy.
Yeah. I am the same way. It's funny you mentioned that. And cats are pretty low maintenance. You gotta track like two,
Yeah.
three things, right?
I mean, you feed them, you clean their litter box,
Exactly.
and you pet them and play with them.
You pat
Like
them, give them
pretty
water.
easy.
That's it.
They sleep most of the day, anyways.
Yeah. Dogs are just less needy children. Well, it depends on the dog, but dogs need a
Well,
lot of
having a dog's
attention.
like having an eternal toddler.
You gotta play with them, and I mean, when they start like woof woof, it's you gotta stop what you're doing. You can't like
Yeah.
just continue doing something on the side while they're going nuts. So
Yeah.
yeah, I really I like both, to be clear, but I think cats are just amazing companions to live with because
Well, it's like cats are for introverts, dogs are for extroverts.
Yeah.
I find.
Yeah.
Most of my friends who are introverted definitely prefer cats, like a lot. Most of my extroverted friends, they're like dog people 100% of the way. So it's kind of interesting to see that correlation.
Mm-hmm. So one last question for you. I was kind of curious to think about this because you don't strike me as the, let's say, stereotypical artist because, just based on the artists I've talked to, you seem to be like very, again, like to the point, professional, like you got a schedule for everything. So is there, if you could think, like if you didn't go down this route, is there another profession that you see yourself in that you maybe would have liked to do?
That is something that I struggled with trying to pick a career because, like I said, I'm a Jill of all trades. I just love everything. I was a very studious person in school, and I just loved learning, and I loved basically every subject. Wouldn't say I loved math, but I was good at it, so like it's fine. But I really love history. I love languages. I love science. So I think if I were to have gone down a field, it probably would have been something science related or like forensics stuff. Like I really always when I was a kid, I would read like a lot of like murder mysteries and detective stories. Like I always wanted to be a detective, and my mom's like, no. I'm like, okay.
No.
So, but I'm like, forensic science, maybe. But then I saw like how much school would cost for that. Yeah, college in America is
it's a big problem, right?
Quite the problem. Yeah, so I didn't pursue that field. Like no medical stuff, even though like it's more of a hobby for me at this point because I didn't pursue it as a career, but I just like reading medical journals and watching history documentaries and science stuff like chemistry videos. Like I just watch all of that on my spare time, try to keep myself smart.
Yeah
Don't want my brain to degrade after being out of school for so long.
Yeah, it's interesting. I kind of pictured you in some very analytical field, almost like either computer science or...
Well, it's funny because when we had to take like personality tests and career tests in school, it would always say like the top career for me would be a military tactician.
Whoa.
And
okay.
But it's like I want to be an artist. I want to paint pictures. But it's like no, military tactician. Like all right.
Yeah, Sasagio. Oh my god. By the way, have you we're not gonna spoil anything, but did you finish the latest season of Attack on Titan?
Yes. Oh man, I'm loving it. It's such a good story.
Yeah, I can't wait. Have you read the manga ahead?
Oh yeah, I read the manga beforehand.
Oh, okay.
I was following the manga since the anime came out in like 2011.
Oh, okay. I read a bunch of it and then stopped.
When I saw the first episode, I'm just like,
It's so damn
So
good. Yeah.
yeah, I mean the intro too. It's like a symphonic metal anime
Oh my
intro. Like
god,
I'm
yes.
in.
And
I am
this
in.
recent intro, I really like it too.
I love it.
They've
Like I
changed
know
it a
it
lot.
had a lot of controversy. Like a lot of people hated it, but my first impression of it was, oh, I wasn't expecting that, but I
Exactly.
like it.
But now
And
that
just
I'm
more I've
used to
listened
it,
to
I'm
it, like
jamming
more
to it
like
every
growing
time.
on me. It's like it's probably my second favorite Attack on Titan intro.
Yeah.
But the first one's like always going to be my favorite.
It's
Like
yeah, the first
it's
one
so
sticks with you.
iconic.
Yeah.
I mean, gosh, at this point it's classic because it's been what, like 10 years since that came out? It's hard to
Yeah.
believe. But yeah, I just like I remember when Attack on Titan was just like I followed the manga basically from the start. So
Yeah.
like it's cool seeing the story progress to the
Exactly.
point it's at now, and just like all the like character development, and it took so many turns that I wasn't expecting, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because you know sometimes manga can just be very like predictable.
Hmm.
It's something I always kind of, I don't want to say prided myself on, but I'm like, I can predict this. I know where this is going to go. Just watch. And then at the end, it's like, told you. But this one, I'm like, I was not expecting it to take
Yeah.
these turns.
This one is nuts.
And it's really cool, like from reading the manga to like I'm actually going back and rewatching like all of the anime because a friend of mine hasn't seen all of it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're watching it with her, and it's just really cool seeing all of the foreshadowing that you didn't catch.
You're
the
like,
first
oh,
time.
I know where
It's
this
like,
is going.
oh, that's so cool. Like, there's some really good moments in that show. So if you haven't seen or read Attack on Titan, I highly recommend doing both.
Exactly.
Because the anime is fantastic, the manga is fantastic.
Sadly, we have to wait until winter 2022.
Gosh, I'm gonna be an old lady by then.
It's crazy. Yeah, I have to finish the manga and see what actually happens. I have some theories. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I think they are terrible PR people. I don't want to spoil anything, but just in very vague terms, they talk of this idea of removing the ability for people who can become titans to reproduce, right, in some way, and they call it like euthanasia, or like, yeah, I forget exactly, the term, but the term with that is just wrong because it's not killing people, right? It's just preventing them from reproducing, which is a different thing entirely. And if you were to PR that shit a bit better, it might fly a little bit.
I mean, the thing is, it's like Attack on Titan deals with some pretty heavy concepts.
Very heavy.
It has some imagery of real life events that might make people uncomfortable. Like, it's not a kid's show.
No.
It's not like your typical
and
like
no one is the
shonen.
good guy. Even in this season.
I think that's what I love the most about it, is without spoiling anything, that it gives you a very realistic and human view of both sides of a conflict.
Exactly.
Where there is no
it does
good
a great job.
Or
everybody believes
there's no good guy.
Everybody believes they have
done on both sides of the conflict.
Yeah, everybody in war, everybody believes they have God on their side, or whatever metaphor you want to use, and they do a great job of showing that everybody's human. It's just people on both sides.
Yeah.
Both sides doing some
inherently are just awful.
some awful shit, some some good shit, and it's really, I've been torn in this season, like picking a side. Forget about who you think is gonna win the conflict. Who do you want to come on top, right? It's actually tricky. You start to think about it like, it's not clear cut who you would necessarily want to come out on top. Do you have a favorite, let's say, character in the show?
It's kind of complicated. Because like there's aspects of certain characters that I like and think that some characters like go through better like character development than others, and it's like interesting to see some of the turns that other characters have taken with their like personalities and their ideals and all of that. So it's, I also don't want to spoil like characters that
of course,
haven't like showed up yet, because I don't want to say, oh, this is my favorite character, and someone's gonna be like, who's that?
Who happens to be
Yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that because.
But lots of very good characters, and
Yeah.
a little bit like Game of Thrones. Every time you lose someone
That's one
close.
thing Yeah. Again, I don't want to.
Yeah. It's
Spoil
very, very
anything,
difficult to talk about this show.
there's some pretty ballsy decisions made in that story that it's like I was not expecting that to happen. But basically, all I could say is don't become attached to any one character because they might not be there in a later chapter.
Yeah,
and it might not be a ceremonious exit
departure. Yeah, I think actually I like it more than Game of Thrones in that sense. I feel like Game of Thrones does it too much for my taste, and I've read the books and stuff.
There's a difference between killing a character for character development and just killing a character for the sake of killing characters. I think something for Attack on Titan, it makes sense.
Yeah,
the environment that they're in, that people are just going to be dying, and there's no like telling how long.
It could be anyone.
Right.
Yeah.
But an issue I had with like the Tomb Raider reboot, for example, like so many characters died, and it just seemed like completely unnecessary. It's like, well, this is a character development for Lara. It's all the tragedies that she's going through. It's like it's helping build her character. It's like, no, it just feels so arbitrary and forced and fake. And it's like, I don't care about these characters. Like, it's just, I don't think that was handled well. But something like Attack on Titan, I think that's handled in a much better sense. Like the characters that die that have meaning to other characters, like it kind of makes sense why that's a driving force for their character development.
It matters a lot. And as a viewer, I was also like, at times there have been a couple times.
Yeah.
Very, very good. All right, listen, I could chat to you for a long time, but I've already taken up more than an hour of your time. So is there anything you want to pimp out for your channel? So this week, we have Thursday and Sunday lined up for Skyrim and TF2.
This Sunday I'm doing Team Fortress from 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock Eastern time. And Thursday 2 to 6 with Skyrim.
Okay.
And maybe Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time. That day's kind of up in the air. Usually it'll be kind of like an every other week sort of thing, perhaps. But yeah, and also art commissions are open if you're interested in any artwork. If you like the stuff on Johnny's channel, feel free to check out my channel. I have a list of other channels that I've worked with. So if you like what you see, send me a DM. I'm in Johnny's Discord. And we can chat.
Awesome. And you guys can check out her channel there in the link. And listen, Jill, thanks for being on. I really appreciate it. It's been a blast. And stay
thanks so much for having me.
Talk soon.
All right, later.
Take care. All right, that is Jill, my dudes. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Sorry I couldn't say hi to everybody coming in. Jonathan, hello. And Funny, how's it going, guys? Hope you enjoyed the convo. Thank you for hanging out with us and giving us your precious attention. So we will take a very short break now after this and get into some Demon Souls, right? We're making very good progress in Demon Souls. We'll do a quick roundup of where we're at in Demons before we start. Spaniard, yo, what's up? We'll do a quick roundup when we get back into the game. I'm disappointed I came late to the stream. When I did the stream, had already lasted 40 minutes. No worries. It's nice to meet you, Rose. Rosewell. I'll call you Rosewell. Is that better? There's always next time. We do this every Saturday with a different guest. So, for Demons, guys, we're now getting into the really murky territory of the later stages. It's gonna be rough. But we have been making very good progress. So I'm excited to see how far we get. And this is the part of the game I barely remember. So it's gonna be very, very fresh for me as well. So with that, let's take a very short break. Get yourself a coffee, stretch your legs, and we'll be back in about 5 minutes with Demon Souls. Don't go anywhere.